whatever's happening, we can just allow it. We can allow it in totally. Whatever's happening in the environment around us, what I call the world, whatever's happening with the body, whatever's happening with the mind, we can allow them all. Notice that doesn't mean we just accept everything. What do I mean by that? It means that the mind may not accept something that's happening in the body or the world, for example. If the mind doesn't accept something, then whatever, that's fine. We just allow body, mind, world to be as they want to be. Sometimes the mind will say yes, that's fine. And then if the mind says yes, that's fine, we can say yes, that's fine. And sometimes the mind will say no, whatever's happening in the world or on the body or even in the mind, that's not fine. And we can say yes. We can say yes to the mind. Yes. But if you don't think it's fine, then you can think that, and you can act accordingly. Michael Langford kind of explains this in the book, The Most Direct Means to Eternal Bliss, in that chapter when he describes the loving all method. He says, you love everything that happens. And that doesn't mean you change your behavior necessarily. And he gives the example of, imagine someone is punching you. So you've got a fist flying towards your face. You can love that moment. But if you would ordinarily duck out of the way of that punch to avoid being punched, you can also just as equally love the act of ducking out of the way of the punch and avoiding the punch. So allowing things to be as they are, or in Michael Langford's words, the loving all method, loving everything as it is, doesn't mean we become doormats necessarily. Doesn't mean we allow things to happen to us that are perhaps not right to happen to us in some way. Doesn't mean we don't have boundaries. As I've said many times before, interpersonal boundaries are very important for interpersonal relationships. Boundaries are important on that level. But we can just allow everything to be. We can accept everything as is. Body, allow the body to be what it wants to be. World, allow the world to be what it wants to be. Mind, allow the mind to do whatever it wants to do. These are not our concern. This is all God stuff. We'll leave it to God. That entity which created all those things, Ishvara or Maya, we can leave it to Ishvara. We can leave it to Maya. We can leave it to Ramana. When we do that, everything becomes clear. Everything settles down. The sense of presence or beingness that may have been overlooked when we're preoccupied with body, mind, and world comes into focus, let's say, or let's say comes into focus when we let go of preoccupation with body, mind, and world. We become aware of that presence, become aware of the beingness. Sometimes it's called aware of awareness or awareness of awareness. We become aware of our identity as being. Now, remember, those are just words. Aware of identity as being. It's not that those words appear in your mind. Oh, now I'm suddenly aware that my identity is that of beingness. No, it's when there is no attachment to body, mind, world, experientially, let's say, presence is there. The beingness is revealed. But if the mind tries to grasp it, then you have identified as mind. Mind is an object. As soon as you identify with objects, then that sense of beingness is seemingly lost, because now we are focused in on an object. And when we let go of body, mind, world, which is Maya, which is all the objective phenomena, then naturally we are abiding as presence, as beingness. So allow everything to be. A teaching that may help us here. We may not need this teaching, but a teaching that may help us here is the notion to see everything as an illusion, everything as a dream, or everything as a dream-like illusion. Why is this helpful? It's because seeing things in this way means we're less likely to attach again and go out to objective phenomena. Why? Because we're seeing them as illusion. We're not so interested in illusions. This helps keep us abiding as self. Another teaching that may help us is the instruction to abide as the self, the subject. Another teaching that may help us is to let go and let God deal with everything. These are all the verbal teachings that may help us. So far the teachings that may help us is allow everything to be as it is. Allow everything in. Take everything to be an illusion, a dream-like illusion. Give everything to God. Another teaching that may help us is be still. Be still. The purpose of all these teachings is cessation of identification with objective phenomena. Cessation of identification with body-mind. No longer taking ourselves to be the body-mind, which is the root ignorance. The mul ignorance. Mul means the main or the root or the principal ignorance. The mul avidya, the root, the main ignorance. Mul maya, the root, the root of maya. Initially, this is savikalpa. Savikalpa means we're not identifying with the objective phenomena, but they still appear to us. The objective phenomena still appear, but we're allowing them to come and go. The problem with the savikalpa is that as long as the objects are appearing, the mind eventually finds a way to attach itself and go outward and reel us in. For almost everybody, this is the case. There may be some exceptions. People who are extremely sattvic, extremely peaceful, extremely pure, extremely right, they may go straight to nirvikalpa. Their mind may be taken straight into the self straight away. Most people, when the savikalpa is there, when the objective phenomena are there and they're coming and going, it's beautiful, at some point the mind will go outward and you'll be drawn into Maya and you'll resume your identity as body-mind. And this back and forth will keep on happening. But when the practice deepens, it becomes nirvikalpa, which means the objective phenomena start to disappear and recede. Body-mind will start to recede. They start to disappear. And this is the turning inwards, away from objects. It happens naturally if you follow the teachings. If you just follow that one teaching, allow everything to be, really, then this will all happen. But again, most of us cannot do this. We say everything can be, and then 5 seconds later, we're obsessed with our thoughts again. So allow everything to be, and then a minute later, or 5 minutes later, or 30 minutes later, you've been thinking about what you did last Wednesday, or something. So for most of us, we need to turn within. Almost everybody. The people who don't need to turn within, they're the ones who hear the teaching once, and then that's it. Or they're the ones that don't even hear the teaching. They maybe sit in the presence of a guru. Or they're the ones that didn't even need the presence of a guru. They just woke up spontaneously. They're the Mozarts, the geniuses of the spiritual world as well. It happens, but we can't really extrapolate what's happened to them and use it for our purposes for the most part. We can't really. If we're a genius ourselves, we don't need to, it just happens. And if we're not a genius, we can't really learn anything from them, and that's by looking at what happened to them. This is why most of us need a teacher, a guru, a teaching, and a practice. and a desire. That sort of seeker, being a seeker. Mumukshutva, a desire for, the yearning for liberation. But as I was saying, we're just allowing everything to be, allowing everything to come and go. Objective phenomena present, that's the savikalpa. We can call that savikalpa samadhi. It's where everything is just happening as it is, and there's no attachment. It may take an effort to get into this state. The state will end at some point, but in the meantime, it's just lovely flow. That's savikalpa samadhi. And eventually we turn, if that is pursued, it will naturally become nirvikalpa. Means the objective phenomena will disappear, we'll turn away from them, we'll go into a deeper absorptive state where we abide as the I am, the subject, the self. Pure subjectivity. Pure subjectivity. This is all natural if we just allow God to do everything for us. The other teachings are there to help to orientate the mind, to help stop the mind going back out towards the phenomena. In the nirvikalpa state, deeper purification happens. This is, we can call this nirvikalpa samadhi. And here, the remaining vestiges of ignorance are dissolved. The mind is pulled into the self by Bhagavan, by God's grace. You can't do it. You can just give everything to God, and then eventually Bhagavan pulls you in. It's like Bhagavan's the executioner. He strikes the final blow. All you can do is lay your head on the execution block, and he will deliver the final blow to the ego. But if you lay your head on the execution block and then take it off again and look around you and get involved with the world, and then lay your head down and then on the execution block and then pick it up again and talk about something else, think about something else, it doesn't work. When you happily give yourself to Bhagavan, when you're ready, he'll take that sword of knowledge and strike you down. And you will realize nothing new. Just the ignorance will be gone. And the suffering will be gone. This is the liberation. This is moksha, liberation. The teachers are just getting you to put your head down onto the execution block, just to be still. All the teachings there just to get you to be still. And then he will strike you down when he's ready. If you have total faith in Bhagavan, there's no need to think. No need to do anything. He will do it all for you. He will do any thinking you need to do. He's already doing this, by the way. It's just you think you're doing it. If you're ignorant. If there's ignorance there. But if you realize that Bhagavan is doing it all already, then you don't have to worry about it. You'll naturally become still. It's because you do not believe Bhagavan is doing it all for you. It's because you believe you are the body-mind. You think and you pay attention to the external world. These teachings are just here to reverse that tendency. For most of us, it's too much to ask for us to give us this all up at once. Slowly, slowly, most of us will give this up slowly, slowly. And Maya will help us. She's here to help us too. So, you don't have to know these teachings. You don't have to know how they work. You follow your heart, you'll naturally give your heart to God eventually. You'll naturally let go and rest, come to rest. This is what you want to do anyway. And you'll be delivered home. However, there's an advantage to knowing these teachings, which is that when you get your Savikalpa style enlightenment, when you get to a Savikalpa state and you think you're enlightened, these teachings will tell you, no, carry on. Don't stop now. Carry on. Don't get off the train just yet. You haven't reached the destination yet. Keep on going. That is hugely beneficial because the ego, the devil, is always trying to tempt you off the sadhana train. And the devil is always happy to hold your hand and lift your hand up in triumph. Say, yes, you've done it. Look at you. You're enlightened. Of course, this is the ego trying to preserve itself because it thinks it's real. The devil and the ego are one. They think they're real. So don't make the mistake of thinking a particular experience or a particular type of knowledge is that. Liberation is beyond all experiences which come and go, and all knowledge and understanding which also comes and goes. Sometimes in the scriptures you'll see liberation referred to as being experience. In Sanskrit, often the word that's used is anabhuti, means experience, anabhuti. Or you'll see liberation referred to as knowledge. In Sanskrit, the word is jnana or vidya. Often vidya is used for knowledge in the mind, and jnana is used for realization. But you'll see them both used in the opposite ways to that as well. So there's no clear, consistent pattern these two words are used in. But liberation is not an experience, because an experience is to do with objective phenomena, which come and go. And it's not knowledge, which also has to do with objective phenomena and thoughts in the intellect, again, which come and go. Knowledge is actually a subtype of experience. You should know this. Knowledge is just a type of experience. It's a particular form of human experience. Liberation is beyond knowledge, beyond experience, but sometimes the scriptures, because there's no word to describe liberation, all words pertain to objects. And liberation is non-objective. So no words can describe it. Sometimes you will see it being called experience or knowledge. But don't think it's an experience. It isn't. Don't think it's knowledge. It isn't. When you get that special experience, that's not it. When you get that special knowledge, that's not it. Don't let the devil triumphantly lift up your hand and say, well done, Tom, you're enlightened now. and then get off that sadhana train. When the devil does that, say, I see you. That's the body-mind world, that's Maya. And you just recede back into beingness. That's it. Just recede back into beingness. If you just follow your heart will tell you, just recede back into beingness. Just be still. Or maybe another set of words or that say the same thing, or a feeling that says the same thing. So Ramana tells us that when there is no attachment at all to body-mind world, that's liberation. When there's attachment to body-mind world, that means you take yourself to be the body-mind, living in a world. That's ignorance, that's suffering. It's that simple. The practice, the teaching is there to assist you in bringing this about. And when the attachment to body-mind world goes, I was going to say you also go. What I mean by that is Maya or ignorance goes. Can't really put this bit into words. But it all goes. And what you are, what you really are, is. Always has been, always is. But beyond time, beyond past, present, future, beyond was, is, will be,